If you're checking out this video, you've probably been worried about losing your hair. You've also may have already lost some hair and want to find some ways to actually improve it. Well, in this video, I'm going to go through exactly what I've done over the last 2 years to go from being nearly completely bald at age 24, 25 years old to recovering my hair now over 2 years. It's been a long journey. It's been very intense. There's been a lot of things I've been able to do, but I've been able to improve a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do in the very beginning. So a little backstory. My name is Darren Lee, and this is my second year transformation video on how I've recovered my hair loss. In my first video, I went over a lot of the methods that I used, and in this video, I'm going to go through a lot of them in more detail as well. So a bit of backstory. So for me, I've always struggled with male pattern baldness, which is called androgenic alopecia. So from the ages of 16, 17, I saw a lot of thinning on this side, and on the back. Now this is quite a worrying thing because for me, being a young guy, there was nothing I could do about it. I struggled with confidence around my hair, especially not in confidence in general, but mainly around my hair. And as I got older, even when I was in clubs, when I was dating, when I was doing different things, I always was worried about my hair. It almost felt like no matter what I was doing, I couldn't improve it. And that's why around 20, 21 years old, when I was getting the worst of my hair loss, I was in the shower washing my hair and I would see 50, 60 pieces of hair in my hands each day. And I was very concerned about it at the time. What I tried to do at that time was investigate, could I get a hair transplant? In 2017, 2018, that was the hottest thing. It really was thinking about, could you get a hair transplant and just fly off the turkey? I went to investigate that, and what happened was a lot of doctors recommended that I would stay on my regular course until I'm older. The reason being is that if I got a hair transplant at 21, I would also have to get one at 31 or 35. And that led me to think that, okay, I was really screwed at this period of time. And I was kind of getting more worried about this, and I was kind of more concerned about it, and I wanted to find new ways to improve my hair. After I started to research more about what I could do to really help my hair, I wanted to just go through the very basics from the very beginning. And I think it's a big first step for people to take because you're trying to regrow the hair follicles that you've actually lost. Now, what I wanted to do first was dip my toe in with some simple shampoos. The main ingredient here that I've been using for 2 years that really helped me the most is Ketoconazole. It comes in two different options. There's a cheaper version and a more expensive version. To me, to be honest, when I didn't really have that much money, I wanted to just be able to use this because I knew it would help. It would help in the very beginning to just reduce the amount of shedding that I would get even in the shower or to even improve the appearance. I actually believe that most men don't actually know how to wash their hair properly. They're either using some shitty shampoo that they got off their girlfriend or some hotel shampoo, which actually leads to fucking up the hair more. It gets drier, it gets more torn, it gets more broken, it gets more abrasion than actual beneficial, and that's the actual trouble with this. So the first two ones that I focused on were two of these, were Nizoral and Regenepure Dior. Make sure it's the Dior version. Now, Nizoral is a lot cheaper. It's only around $15, $20, whereas Regenepure is around $40. But the benefit of these is the fact that if their active ingredient is Ketoconazole, Ketoconazole slows down the hair shedding process or the miniaturization of your hair, which is how your hair gets more broken down and actually ends up being non-fixable at that point. So what I wanted to do was start this from the very beginning. I started off with even Regenepure, which was a bit more expensive, but I feel like it really did improve my hair. Now, you can use it 3 to 4 times a week. I was using it nearly every single day. Now, I want to get the most bang out of my buck and really test this and check, is my hypothesis correct that I can actually improve my hair? So I use it every day. I didn't get much issues apart from a small bit of dry scalp, I guess, but I would level that off with some conditioning, and it's very, very simple. Now, to date, I think I've used Nizoral more, and I've used this more over the last maybe 2 years, but I think either or is what you need, is a Ketoconazole 2% actual ingredient. However, when you're using this, I feel like that it's the entry point to it. It will improve the look of your hair for sure and a small bit more of the shedding process, but it doesn't do everything else. So in year 1, that's when I focused on going into taking Finasteride. I mentioned in previous videos that the reason why I went on Finasteride is because when I spoke to doctors, they told me that if I got a transplant, they recommended me to go on Finasteride anyway. So I said, fuck it, why not just try it now and see do I get any negative side effects. Now, I didn't face any direct side effects, but for me, it was mainly mental. It was, oh, am I going to be affected by this negatively? Is there something that I can do to prevent it? So when I spoke with a healthcare professional, and as I recommend, you have to go to a doctor for this to get it actually prescribed. when I went on 1 milligram a day, there was no real issues for me. It was just mainly just the worry of it. And I think over time that worry kind of fades off, and you have to just kind of realize that even though the data says some people get side effects and some people get side effects of decreased libido, sex drive, some other kind of more like brain fog, some other kind of aspects, it may not happen to you. Of course, you need to monitor it, and I monitored it very, very closely from year 0, of course, the beginning, to year 1, and I kept on it then as a result. And that was mainly what I used for year 1. Now, I didn't use any minoxidil, and the reason being is because for minoxidil, you do have to stick with it. So even if you face adverse effects, if you use it and you start getting a shedding phase and then a regrowth phase, you can't necessarily go off it at some point. It is also quite expensive. It could be $50, $60 a month, and it's not really like you need it in the beginning. I think there's other things you can do adjacently from there. So some of the videos I'm going to be sharing through this video as well is that I've been able to regrow a lot of my hair from the beginning to year 1, but I wanted to take it a step further. So I was happy with the growth. I was pretty confident with it, but I was wondering, could I investigate more to see what else I could do? That is when I started during my second year to move more into derma rolling. Now, I want to go through some of the principles of this as well. So I've been using a 0.5 millimeter derma roller, which is very simple. And I've moved just recently, not that long ago, into 1 millimeter. Now, derma rolling is really good because it gets deep into the hair follicles and rejuvenates a lot of hair that's almost been, killed off or like dead at that period of time. And it lets a lot of regrowth happen in that area, especially the frontal lobe here and on the back. Those are the two main areas that I suffered, and so does everyone else suffer. So when I was using derma rolling, it was able to get underneath those hair follicles that are broken and actually be able to improve the rejuvenation area. However, what I would say is that the thing with derma rolling is that it's very difficult to stay on top of it all the time. Now, unlike a shampoo or unlike Finasteride, which you take every day or every second day, with derma rolling, you should really advise to do it around every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks, especially depending on how long the blade is. I started off with a smaller blade, which was a little bit easier to get the hand of, but I must completely honest in this is that I wasn't that consistent with it. And I think the reason why is because I never made it easy for me to do it. I just had it in like the wardrobe in the bathroom, and every once in a while when I saw it, I would use it. So I think generally I was using it every 3 weeks, maybe every 4 weeks, but only in the last couple of months I started to do it a bit more consistently. Now, another concern with derma rolling that I wanted to flag was the fact that the blades are very, very sharp. And what that means is when you're working on your front lobe here or on the back, yes, it does get down into the hair follicles, but if you don't know what you're doing in your DIY solution, you could actually break the hair follicles and leave scar tissue, which is the exact opposite to what you actually want to do. So you have to be very careful. I start off with a smaller pen and then work my way up to it. And the 1 millimeter for myself is painful enough as it is, but I feel like that's actually pretty fine to stay with and stay consistent with. I've actually got a small bit of cuts actually as a result, but I didn't see much negative effects of that as long as that you obviously do it within reason. You don't abuse it, for instance. So that's what I've been using from year 1 to year 2, and I've got even way more of a hair growth. Now, I think that there is an element of marginal returns kicking in for things like Finasteride, for things like the shampoo, that maybe not all the time it's as effective as the beginning. I actually compare hair growth and hair rejuvenation to like virgin gains in the gym. So when you first go to the gym, it's all excitement and it's like working great and you feel a bit better, you look a bit better. But over time, the results start to diminish and it's a bit more difficult to get the results, a bit more challenging. And I definitely found that from year 1 to year 2. It's hard to identify exactly what is working, what's not working when you're adding in a lot of different things to the mix. So that's why if you start scaling up some of the hair stack that you're going to use, you kind of see what's beginning to work a bit better. So that's why I moved from 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter on a derma roller. Some other stuff that was super helpful that was kind of easy to do, so I'm trying to make things a little bit easier so that I can be more consistent with it, is biotin. So biotin, very good for minerals and also for vitamins, as well as lysine, which is an amino acid. So these have just helped generally with nails, hair. They're not obviously as effective as some of the big boys, of course, they're not going to be, but I want to kind of implement them into my hair stack and make it simple. Other things that I started and I couldn't really be as consistent with for my hair transformation was things like coconut oil. So coconut oil is really good for bringing in rich minerals and being able to kind of take care of your hair and make it a bit less dry, let's say. But it's kind of hard to always be using coconut oil. You can use it at night and wake up with like an oily pillow or use it during the day, and you're always like washing your hair during the day. So it's a bit more difficult, I would say, to be consistent. And that's really what I want to try to explain, is the fact that, to get really realistic in terms of what you can achieve with your hair growth, and what I was able to achieve with my hair growth, is the fact that I was able to do it for a longer period of time. So I make it as easy as possible, and I come into this with realistic expectations. So some things I want to be a bit more open about is in terms of what you can expect to achieve at 1 year and maybe 2 years. Now, I did regrow my hair a lot, and I must say that I grew it a lot, and I'm quite confident with it, I would say. However, there's a few things to consider. One is your general natural hairline. So my hair may not be completely perfectly straight. I'm not like a Hollywood actor, for instance, so my hair is not perfectly straight. Therefore, when I'm taking these little ingredients or supplements or whatever, as a result, I'm not going to get a perfect hairline. The other consideration is how much hair you've lost. Okay, you start off with roughly 100,000 hair follicles, and the more you lose and the more that are miniaturized, the more difficult it is to regrow it. So, of course, I tried to tackle it when I had lost about just over half my hair, I would say, or just under half my hair, but when I tried to tackle it, I was obviously improving it, but I never made it actually perfect. The other thing here is about being very patient. Now, we are literally talking about regrowing hair. It's not like going to the gym, or it's not like studying for an exam or doing more in work. The results are not going to come straight back. However, you can expect some nice miniature small goals to tackle. One instance is the first 6 months is reduce the amount of hair you lose. The next 6 months is start your hair look a bit more fuller and a bit thicker. And then basically after a year, you can expect a lot of your hairline to kind of start growing in a small bit. And then from year 1 to year 2, you're really trying to improve it and try to actually bring it forward again. You don't need to start adding more things to this as well. You can keep things pretty mellow with what you like and what you have right now. But I do think, though, that you can start layering these things on top of each other. Then in terms of cost is a big factor that people consider, and it's something that I definitely considered. So if we look at, let's say, the two shampoos that I have, $40, $15, there's nothing really wrong with Nizoral. Nizoral will also last you like 2 months. Let's say both of them will be. Same with some of, like, say, the vitamins that I'm using and the Derma Roller. I would think that on average per month, my hair care is probably costing around $30 US. And that is, let's say, your hair care of Finasteride broken down per day. That is the shampoo that's going to last 2 months. That is a Derma Roller that's going to last you probably around 2 to 3 months. Probably could use a bit longer, but people advise of 2-3 months. And then some of the vitamins, like these vitamins are literally like $7. So I just try to get the cheaper ones and try to get enough dosage out of them as well. I'm taking around 1,000 milligrams of biotin. So overall, you're looking at around $30 per month. And of course, that's like $360 a year. But if you compare that to the more extreme measures you can do, like a hair transplant, it's very helpful because you may not be in the right position to do a hair transplant financially. You might not have the right age, or you might not have the time. You could be very busy with work and you can't fly to fucking Turkey and just get your hair done. So it's nice to have that realistic outcome. And I honestly don't think I'm going to get a hair transplant in the near future. I have been inquiring into other stuff to maybe potentially experiment with, but it's mainly to actually experiment and just see what else I can do to improve it. And we could make more videos on that if people are more interested on it. Some other aspects I want to get into are some additional things like no hot water. So I've never washed my hair in hot water in over 2 years. Hot water makes your hair very dry, so I'm able to remove that aspect very clearly. I also don't use any product. Now, I used to use a lot of product, which literally drove my hair into pieces and made it really, really shit. Don't use any product whatsoever. Keep that to a minimum. Other things that are important are stress. So the more stressed we are, the more actual inclined we can actually lose some of our hair. And also we start messing with our hair and start tugging with our hair, things like that. And also, my stress levels are still pretty high, I must say that. So that's one thing that I'm actively trying to improve. And other things are, let's say, your diet and nutrition. So as everything based is around your diet and nutrition for your overall health. But I think a lot of iron in your meals, a lot of red meat, very clean diet, not really processed food, getting good sleep, getting good recovery, being healthy, and generally trying to live a more fulfilling and happier life, to be honest, and always like doing negative things that can affect your hair and your lifestyle as a whole. So I think it's a good representation of your hair health is actually a good representation of your actual health. So it's good things to consider. So this has been my entire 2-year hair loss journey. So of course I went from someone who had pretty much no hair, was going balding, to recovering my hair to a situation whereby I'm pretty happy with. Now this is not a perfect fit. It's not completely finished yet. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I could definitely say that I'm more confident and more happy with my appearance of my hair for sure, and I know a lot of other guys struggle with it. So if you do, hopefully this information was helpful. Start small and start increasing your stack as you go on, and using whatever is within your means as well and what you're comfortable with doing. Of course, do more research, go deeper on different topics, and I think you will really see the benefits of it. So if you do enjoy this video, please like it down below, share it, and also let me know if there's anything else that I can help you with. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoy this one.